It is 2 minutes past 2 on Women Radio WFM 91.7, and it is towards an inclusive governance in Nigeria, Series 2 on Political Arena. Today is Tuesday, the 13th day in the month of July 2021. And today we'll be discussing 2023 elections, strategic methods of strengthening women's participation. My name is Esther Alaribe, and Towards an Inclusive Governance in Nigeria is an initiative of Nigerian Women Trust Fund and supported by Open Society Initiative of West Africa, or SIWA. Now, looking at this topic, 2023 elections, strategic methods of strengthening women's participation. In 2019, in the 2019 general elections, only 62 women out of the 2,970 women who contested for different political offices in the elections were elected. Now, women make more than 50% of the population, yet they are consistently underrepresented as voters, political leaders, or elected officials. Women have the right to participate in political processes that affect them, their families, and the society at large. Women face countless challenges and barriers in participating in the civic and political affairs of their country due to discrimination, violence, lack of support, and resources. In 2019, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, expressed disappointment over the low participation of Nigerian women in the elections. What should we expect from Nigerian women come 2023? The phone lines will be open in the bit, but in the meantime, you can send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070-317-56537. And with us over the phone is Abiola Akiode-Afolabi, who is the founding director, Women Advocates Research and Documentation Center, Ward C. Good afternoon, Abiola.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure being here.
Yes, good to have you on the show. Hope your day is going well.
Yes. We're trying.
Yes. So, when you heard this topic of discourse, 2023 elections, strategic methods of strengthening women's participation, what came to your mind first?
Well, I want to commend the initiator of the radio program.
Yes.
Because oftentimes we always start late.
Okay.
And we don't have opportunity to review before elections. So it's important given the fact that if we look at the number of women who are at the in elective positions in Nigeria, which is less than 8%, in total. If we look at that, we know that yes, it is actually the right time, for us to be very strategic in ensuring that we open the space, for voice and participation of women. Okay. So having a strategy conversation is very critical. So I think we need to commend the organizers at Women Radio for always being there, to support women. Reflections and thinking every time. I don't know what we would have achieved in the women's movement or on women issues without the Women Radio. Okay. Well done for the work we do.
Thank you. And another question is, a school of thought opines that we need an amendment of the 1999 Constitution as amended for women to effectively participate in politics. This school of thought believes that the Constitution has been wired in a way that boxes the woman, and that women are not granted the access or the space to do freely, since the Constitution places some kind of, and there's been so many comments about the Constitution not being gender sensitive with the language and choice of words. So what would be your take on that, Abiola?
Well, the Constitution has been a major challenge. Ordinarily, the Constitution should be a support for women, but in terms of analyzing the Constitution with respect to gender equality, there are still a whole long way to go. Especially if you even compare what we have as our 1999 Constitution, if you compare it with Constitution from other countries, comparative countries, around the world, particularly the even African countries, South Africa, Eritrea, Ethiopia, and Ghana, and other Uganda countries, Rwanda. Our Constitution is still very defective when it comes to the issue of women. There are very cogent issues which I will speak to, which are majorly around the issue of women's political, participation.
Okay.
We have the Constitution, which is who has what we call the Federal Character Commission, and also allows the Federal Character Commission to do things in accordance with the geopolitical zones arrangement. But that same Federal Character does not talk about diversity. So the fact that the Constitution does not employ diversity in that Federal Character creation, also in a way, women who can be appointed to positions. So what you then see on the Federal Character thing is that you see that people are picked according to geopolitical zones. And when they make this selection for appointment, they don't do it from a gender lens. So you don't see that gender in it. And there are several examples that can be cited in this regard. Now, having said that, there's also the issue of indigenship, which is not clear in the Constitution, but it's mentioned in the Constitution, but it's not defined.
Okay.
And, women then oftentimes find themselves in that position where you are married to someone who is an indigene of another place or who is from another state, and you are from another state, and you want to carry on in your political career. Now, because the patriarchal situation gives the woman that position to claim her husband's name and all of that. So you find it difficult to claim you are not claiming your father's name, so you cannot claim where you are coming from. So then when you want to then contest election in the place where you are claiming as your new name that you have acquired through marriage, then they tell you that you are not from there. So politically, it is not clarified, and that's very important for women in terms of clarification of where a woman can claim when she wants to run an election. So the Constitution should have addressed that in a way that would support, women folk.
Okay.
Now, in other crime also, the Constitution, which talks about non-discrimination, also emphasized the need for positive affirmative action in that non-discrimination clause. In places like the South Africa, for example, the Constitution of South Africa does not particularly speak about percentage or quota, but it has a broad-based provision, that makes it compulsory for any steps that can be taken by either any entity or institution, whether it's political party, whether it is a government institution, to ensure that they take steps to redress historical injustices, which means to have what we call the positive discrimination. But our Constitution does not have that kind of provision. So the non-discrimination does not cover positive affirmative action. So political parties and others would not want to support women because they are not obligated by the Constitution to increase the number of women. So other Constitution has it clearly written in terms of quota. So there are a whole lot of issues in the Constitution. And the Constitution also generally use the word the masculine language, it shall be the chairman and all of that. So in a way, they also have implications to politics because it is the chairman that they are voting for. And the chairman must be a man, So that kind of insensitivity are there in the Constitution. Might look pretty, might look small, but in a way, it also creates image, in the mind and people who are reading the Constitution and who want to read the Constitution, to their own advantage. So there are a whole lot of issues that are in the Constitution that are not sensitive and are not, that also in a way inhibiting women's participation in public life. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Abiola. You mentioned something that has to do with cultural practices. Now, how do we begin to address discriminatory cultural practices that hinder women from achieving their goals in politics? Now, looking at we have different cultures in Nigeria. Some places they will tell you, women cannot sit at the same table with men. Women are not to be seen. They're not to be held only seen. So things like this, some people find a way of bringing it into politics, where you hear certain people make comments like, women, why are they demanding for this? They have other things to do. They can go and man their, take care of their home. They can do other things. They have other functions. Why politics? Why are you coming out to demand for an affirmative action? Why do you want to be this when you can be that in your husband's house? You're married and that should be enough for you. How do we begin to address attitude, practices like this, comments like this, and how do we begin to raise the young girls so that they know that in everything you want to be in life, you can always achieve it regardless of gender?
Well, culture has always been the big elephant in the room because to a lot of people it's the way of life, So people grow into things that make them to believe that women are to be subjugated, girls are to be seen as lesser citizens and all of that.
Okay.
To address that needs a whole lot of culture change strategies and approaches, and it's a very broad based, it's a broad approach that can be used. It must be holistic in its way, because the school has a role to play in changing the way people think. The system, even curriculum in school, still radiates some of the cultural apathy, against women. So we need to start from the home itself to try to see what can be changed, and the school, the community, so community actors must, be targeted in terms of education and awareness, about the role of women in the society. The religious leaders also. So like this, I was in my church on Sunday and I was just sitting there and I was listening to what they were saying, and you hear this every time, in the church. And of course, because the pastor is also always a man, so you see them, speaking eloquently about some of these issues, whereas where you sit, you just say, these are part of the culture that, have been, subjugating women for a long time, the man is, submit, as Jesus loved the world and things like, so many issues that true religious are preaching to, in a way, because some of the context is not also taken into consideration, the other context of political economy, things like that, the Quran would also say that you have to take care of your wife, but the reality of today also shows that it's possible that you don't have the means, to be able to do it. So where the woman who has the means then attempts to do it, then she's seen as, being confrontational. And this end up turning into beating, domestic violence, and things like that. Or where a woman opines on a particular issue in the house, say, I'm talking, you are talking, and all of that. So the cultural practices and behavior and attitude, that has been built up over time need to be reconstructed. And this can only be done with a very robust, holistic intervention at different levels, community, religious level, school level, and other levels, to be able to have that kind of system that can help to promote women's voices, and that can say women are human beings like every other person. So no culture should reduce, the position of women in the society.
Okay, thank you so much, Abiola. And it's 2:15 on Women Radio WFM 91.7, and this is Towards an Inclusive Governance in Nigeria, Series 2. Towards an Inclusive Governance in Nigeria is an initiative of Nigerian Women Trust Fund, supported by Open Society Initiative of West Africa, OSIWA, and we have been discussing 2023 elections, strategic methods of strengthening women's participation. And speaking with us is Abiola Akiode Afolabi, who is the founding director of Women Advocates Research and Documentation Center, Ward C. Abiola has been taking us through what women need to know and what they need to do better. Now, Abiola, you mentioned domestic violence. What steps should be adopted to strengthen women's rights and address barriers affecting women in the political space? Because, for one, violence. We know the case of Salome Abu in 2019. Cases like this seem to deter women from participating in politics, because you hear things like, oh, if this happened to me, what will happen to my children? Who will look after my children? Or how will I lose my life in the course of trying to win this race? So it's putting so many women off. What is that step that we need to put in place to ensure that women are heard?
I agree with you. Violence has been a major deterrent, it's been a major factor, and it's been affecting women's participation in politics for a very long time. Yeah, people don't want to mingle around in a place where you are not sure of your security, and women are very skeptical about that because of the way we are built and we grow up, because you don't want to be seen in places that are chaotic, I think the issue of violence in election has to be taken from a very holistic perspective too, in the sense that we need to address electoral violence generally, because it's a threat, not only to women, to the electoral system itself and to electoral integrity itself. there has been canvas over time for electoral offences commission, which is like a commission that will be like a mobile commission on election day, and where they see people trying in any way to disrupt the election, will come out and then will arrest us and make sure that they take such a person to the book, or even before election. A lot of violence occur, particularly during campaign period on election day. So there are there are posts, there are during election challenges that you see, and oftentimes women don't want to be. So it is for us to generally insist on having safe electoral system, that can accommodate everyone, that can accommodate women, people with disabilities, everyone, so until when the political system is safe, it might be very difficult. So that's what I'm saying. We have to take it from a very holistic perspective, because you cannot just deal with it as something that affects women alone. There are also very honorable gentlemen who will not want to go out to vote on election day or be part of politics because of the violence. So the government, the institutions must do things, to ensure that we support laws that can, address the issue of violence in election. And electoral offences commission would be one of those ways of addressing it.
Okay, thank you. To be a part of the conversation today, you can call us on 07000 917 917 or send us a text or WhatsApp message on 070 317 56537. Now, Abiola, lack of education in electoral processes is a big barrier to women participation in politics. What is the place of civil society organization? What can they do to ensure that women are adequately educated on electoral processes?
Well, there are a lot of things that civil society can do, and also because it's also a broad civics, they also work in a very broad civic space.
Okay.
So there are civil society organizations that are working with children, those working with women, those working with rural women, those working with, because politics is part of life, because also the determinant of what we do and who we are, and also as a country, what operates on day-by-day basis. So it becomes very important for civil society to use the radio, television, social media, and other platforms, to begin to ask for increase in number of women. It's important for civil society to help in educating people to have some form of culture shift in a way that women will be respected. It's important for civil society to also engage the media, because the media has a role to play, because what people see that they believe. So you see a lot of things also in the media that's not portraying women, adequately. So it's also important to deal with, So it is something that we need to take from a very wide perspective to address, the issue of women's voice and participation. So CSO has a very important role to play in this regard, and it's important for CSO to be active in it.
Yes. So I'm talking about the media. You just mentioned the media now. What can we do to ensure that the media is portraying women in the right light? Because come election period, you hear things like, why are you running? Is your husband not opposing this? Is your husband supportive? Questions like this are not questions that has to do with the matter on ground, and you're wondering why you're asking this woman these questions. I mean, you understand what I mean? Because we tend to see things like this, and you are wondering why not ask the woman the same question you ask the man. Why are you asking her if her husband is supporting this campaign of hers? So how can we begin to sensitize the media on things like this?
I agree with you. There's a need for capacity development for media, because media has to change its understand, because they are the one who give information out.
Okay.
So they must also be clear in terms of the kind of information that they are giving out and how they treat women within that information. I know that recently the Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism started what they call Report Women, and they've been able to attach a whole lot of quite a number of women on that project to I think women, they were focusing on women, to begin to write positively, about women, in politics, women's situation. If you look at, for example, let me take the case of Chidinma, the Lagos young lady.
Yes.
who was accused, of murder and all of that. If you look at the way she has been subjected to media trial, it will show to a large extent some of the biases, also within of the media, and you can see a whole lot of things going on social media about our back, our front, and things like that, So, things like that also shows insensitivity, to a large extent. We have seen people with media reports of a girl who is about so age who was raped. We have had them mentioning people's name when they're not supposed to mention the name of the person who was who happens to be the victim or survivor. So meaning that there are also things that need to be taught, to the media about gender sensitivity in reporting, and all of that. So Report Women was doing that, to help to train media on how they can respond to some of this. So we need more of that kind of training. So we need targeted training for media to be able to respond to issue of gender equality appropriately.
Okay, thank you, Abiola. Then how can we begin to educate women in rural areas on the need to participate and vote in elections to enhance good governance? Because some people will tell you, oh, there's no point going out to go and vote. They know who is going to do this. But we need to let people know the need to go out there and cast your vote, that your vote counts.
Yeah, the rural area is very important because actually that's where all the votes come from, most of the votes come from.
Okay.
The people at the city center, oftentimes, some of them even watch TV and they don't participate effectively. So it becomes very important that, we go in there and the corruption also in elections also happen a lot, at that level, at the rural area, because they give them money, they give them soap and salt. So it's important to ensure that we focus on rural area, because I guess if we focus on that population at that level, that can also change the face of politics. If they say no to violence, if they say no, and because they are also indigenous in their own way, so they know themselves. So there are a lot of roles that they can play in ensuring that we have a free, fair, election that can also support more women.
Okay. Yes. So come 2023, we know very well that in elections you need like good amount of resources to put yourself together to run for campaigns and contest for elections. Now, some women lack the resources to run confidently for government positions. How can we get political parties to support women in their campaigns and contest in elections?
Well, there are a lot of ways they can. Part of it, before, some of them have waived fees for registration fees for women, before, but even at that has not led to much increase in the number of women. I think what is important is for us to all canvass for a general lowering the bar, because if you look at what is being circulated with the electoral law, where the president is supposed to be paying, I think, 5 billion before, now they are saying 15 billion and all of that. If you look at all the funds that they have rolled out in terms of the kind of amendment they want to make to the electoral act, it will make it very much impossible for women, young people, to be able to pay that amount. There was, if you want to go for House of Assembly, you're going to raise 100 million. So it becomes like an investment. So if you raise that kind of amount, you want a return. So, and that's why, so what that can do is to make the electoral system much more corrupt. So we should look for a way where we lower this to the extent that it becomes very affordable for anyone who wants to run for politics in the country. So, but what we have currently is not okay. So, and so in terms of women raising money, for, oftentimes in some situations, when you are able to pass through as candidate, the political party sees this as a political party thing. So what they want to do is to ensure that their political party wins at all costs. Yes, the candidates decided to also put in money, So but political parties should also understand that women will need more than that.
Okay.
You know, they will need more than that even before they become candidates. You know, so that the money aspect of politics is a downplay to be able to allow for more participation.
Okay. Thank you so much, Abiola. In your own opinion, what do you think are the benefits of having women on decision-making tables? Because studies have shown that women are more emotionally intelligent, and they can use the occurrences of things in their homes and how it affects their families to project into their professions, their careers. So when we have more women on decision-making tables, what are the benefits that come with it?
Well, so many, you know. One, they serve as model to other young women,
okay,
who are just growing up. The women are, like, let me give some of the evidence that we have read and we are aware of.
Okay.
In South Africa, when women came into the floor of politics, that was when they introduced what we call gender budgets today. You know, so the issue of budgeting has always been budgeting without looking at the consideration of men and women. So, but in South Africa, they started the gender budget, and it has become a global thing. You know, that everybody is, so you must budget with a lens, you know, that we look at, because what you will, if you have a child, if you have a twin, 13-year-old, you know, so both of them are going to school, so you would, there's a boy, there's a girl. So you have to pack differently for them. You cannot pack the same thing for 13-year-old, you know, boy and girl. You know, so and that's what gender budgeting is about. So that's one of the things that women have brought into the conversation of budgeting all over the world. They need to budget with a lens that would provide, you know, more accountability in budgeting.
Okay.
If you also look at in most countries where we have seen some development, even in the room during the tribunals on Rwanda and other countries where there were conflicts. It was because some women were on the seat as judges. That was what changed the face of conversation on the issue of rape, you know, law up to today, and that has been adopted almost everywhere, including in Nigeria, where we have the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, because people are only seeing rape as an offense that has to do with penetration. But you know, so I'm saying that women being at different places across the world have changed a lot of things. Here in Nigeria, where we are also, we know a whole lot of things that was done by the former Minister Diosho, Vinjo Uwela, and a whole lot of other women who have occupied positions. Madam Due Process. Our conversation around due process today was a conversation that started on Sen Obioze Priscilla. What's the Minister for Women Affairs? Was the Minister or was the head of Bureau of Public Bureau of Procurement? You know, so so women can bring a whole lot of changes. There has never been any time when we have a woman playing one role or the other in Nigeria that you cannot find as an added value. You know, rarely do you find that. So women can bring a lot of things, you know, into politics. Okay.
Thank you very much, Abiola, for joining us this afternoon.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Yes. Do have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. And that was Abiola Akiode Afolabi. She's the founding director, Women Advocates Research and Documentation Center, WADC. This is Towards an Inclusive Governance in Nigeria Series 2 on Political Arena. And Towards an Inclusive Governance in Nigeria is an initiative of Nigerian Women Trust Fund and supported by Open Society Initiative of West Africa, OSIWA. And we've been discussing 2023 elections, strategic methods of strengthening women's participation. And our next guest is Abiodun Omomi Eshet, and she is the special advisor to the chairman, Abuja Municipal Area Council on Information and Communications Technology. We know that women in Nigeria make more than 50% of the population. Looking at the 2019 elections, only 62 women out of 2,970 who contested for political offices in the elections were elected. This is quite low. What should we expect from Nigerian women come 2023? And joining us now is Abiodun Omomi Eshet. Good afternoon, Abiodun.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good to have you here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Trust you're having a great day.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Are you?
I'm good. I'm fine. Yes. So, Abiodun, we're discussing 2023 elections, strategic methods of strengthening women's participation. A school of thought opines that we need an amendment of the 1999 Constitution as amended for women to effectively participate in politics. What do you think?
Yes, actually, yeah, we are. We need it. That's what we need. One of the prerequisites for what we are campaigning for.
Okay.
And women group across the different levels have been going on consultations to see how we can review some of the amendments, some of the clauses within the Constitution to favor us or to favor all the policies we are trying to push at the National Assembly.
Okay.
So we, as women group under the leadership of the Minister for Women Affairs and Excellency Pauline Charling,
Okay.
created two committees, Advocacy Committee and Constitutional Review Committee, that has worked tirelessly over the years, over the months to amend the Constitution and submit our amendments to the National Assembly, and we have done that already.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Now, looking at this, 2023 is drawing near. How do we begin to mobilize women to ensure that women contest and participate as voters in the 2023 elections?
Okay, thank you very much. Any woman that wants to go on for 2023 should have started by now,
Okay.
2 years before, because based on your community leadership, based on community development, based on consultation, they have done all that by now. So for us as women group, we're encouraging women to vie for different leadership positions at the political level. So across the country, the different political parties are doing their congress. They are getting people for leadership positions across the world level, local level, state level, and national level. That is an opportunity for us that we can use to really get more women involved at the political leadership platform.
Okay.
As the main political parties in Nigeria. APC is currently planning their own towards the end of this month. I'm sure PDP is also doing similar. So this is time for us to see how we can get at least more women involved in politics and anchoring principal offices at the political leadership platform across different levels, from the local to the state to the national. Once we have a couple of women at that level, we'll be able to know that yes, we have a voice at the party level to advocate for some of the change that we need towards 2023 election. And also our position or our work right now towards the Congress is for us to see how we can get more women having the party ticket at that level 2023, because the women that will be co-opted as leadership position will have the voting power to elect the next representative for their different levels of influence from the local to the national. So those are the women, those are the people that will conduct the primary election. For me, like I always say, the primary elections at political party levels is more important than the general election for us as women. Last general election, the primary election in PDP and APC gave us the outcome of what we had at the National Assembly. We knew a lot of women were not given the tickets, both in PDP and APC, and that was what resulted in the lower percentage of women that we have at the National Assembly. So we need to really pay more attention on what's going on at the party level. Now that they are planning for their Congress, it's time for us to advocate. And I'm sure our leader, the Minister for Women Affairs, has been going around to see how they can lobby for more women to occupy different positions in political parties, so that we can use that number to add up and see how we can use to influence the change we want come 2023. But the game starts now. The more women we have at the Congress level, at different political parties, the major two political parties, the more women we are hoping to get the ticket for candidacy for any office come 2023.
Thank you so much, Abiodun. Now, looking at it, you just said that for any woman who wants to contest for any office in 2023 should have started now. The game is on. Yes. But we know that women lack finances. Some women lack the finances to confidently run for government. How can we support women as women to participate in politics? Because we know some women have the resources but are not just interested in politics, and we have some women who are very much interested but they don't have these finances to run for offices. So how do we begin to support women?
It's to start talking about strategic partnership. We have women in business forum. That's the constitution of women that have been in business and are doing well in business. These are some of the things that we need to learn from the men. We may say, this man is not part of politics, but they are putting their money where their mouth is going to be the next level of administration. You see a lot of people, you see the Tesla, you see the Dangote, they're supporting, when it's time for election, they start changing their support to a political party to show that, okay, when you get there, make policies that will favor my business. And that's the way we should start thinking. Seeing how we can use our money to get what we want. We have women that have been in business, that are doing well in business. How do we, we've been working towards partnership with women in politics and women in business to see how we can use that partnership and bring the strategic, turnaround for our financial inclusion. Okay. In the sense that we partner with people in business. They show us what strategies we can do to really raise more funds for our campaign and the way to go about it. Because civil society is not going to support us because it's against some of their policies. They can only build your capacity. But the financial aspect is something we really need to sit down and discuss with different stakeholders, relevant stakeholders. But we need to build on that, see how we can use our money where our mouth is. So we need to use that. And women in business will not just give their money if they don't know how valuable you are, how important you are, how strong you are at your constituency to really deliver at their mandate.
Okay. Thank you very much. And it is towards an inclusive governance in Nigeria Series 2 on political arena. And we've been discussing 2023 elections, strategic methods of strengthening women's participation. And I've been speaking with Abiodun Omomi Eshet, and she's the special advisor to the chairman, Abuja Municipal Area Council on Information and Communications Technology. To be a part of the conversation, you can call us up on 07000 917 917, or you can send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070 317 56537. Now, looking at all of this, recently in Nigeria, we've been combating the high level of insecurity. Every day we get in the news, either somebody has been abducted or there is cause for alarm somewhere. Now, 2023 is approaching, it's close by. What do we do to ensure that the lives of women who will be contesting or voting in 2023 elections are secured? Because if at this moment we're still combating insecurity, come 2023, we really need to start putting in lasting solutions and measures to ensure that the rate of violence is curbed.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, thank you for that. It's, security issue is not just based on women's alone.
Yes.
It's something that is generalized to all spheres of our life.
Okay.
Men are also involved. But, it's an advice, it's for government to take a strategic step and involve in, and also get the relevant stakeholders along in discussing about the way forward. We keep talking, but there's no action. But we still need to keep talking and still re-strategize on what role everybody has to play in making sure that we are putting an end to insecurity in Nigeria. If this type of tempo goes along to 2023, we may have a very difficult election 2023 because it will really shy. People will be afraid of coming out. Women, at least, we have challenges coming out for politics, and because one of the major things is the insecurity.
Okay.
And security and fear that you may be more fear of so many things. That has been a known challenge to us for women in politics. But with the insecurity that is going on, it will discourage a whole lot of women to even think of participating in politics.
Okay, let me pause your thoughts there, Abiodun. We have a call.
Okay.
Yes. Hello, good afternoon. Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good afternoon, Chief Agozi.
Chief Agozi, how are you? The guest, how are you?
Fine.
I'm greeting the guest, yeah. I really love your analysis, you understand me? There is a question here for you, please.
Okay.
The fact of the issue is that, before this government came into power, they promised insecurity, good economies and all that, good electricity, road network. You understand me? Are we there now? And besides that, why is not giving them the power of attorney that they may definitely come back to power? Because day in, day out, this insecurity is increasing. I've said it on the past that the insecurity of one is the insecurity of all. You understand me? And it's not involving the high and mighty. Look at what happened at Kaduna or whatever. You understand me? But, migration does not really mean maybe they are doing well or they may come back. But to me, I would have wanted them to come back if the necessary things can be put in place. Simply because of the person that is being involved coming in, I wouldn't like to mention any name because his sponsor has paraded everywhere, but he himself has not really come out, you understand? I think if God, understand me, can really, or if they can do the needful, put the needful in place, you understand?
Yes, and that was Chief Agozi. Abiodun, what do you have to say to what Chief Agozi has said?
Yes, so it's really on what each government at different levels are doing concerning the insecurity. So it's a nationwide problem, but different states and different local governments are also trying to, counter, address this insecurity. For us in Abuja Municipal Area Council, we created a community outreach of, a community outreach of policing, where we have marshals who go into the community, make some kind of a community to identify issues, issues of insecurity, and also alert the security agency across, the state. And things like this is one of interventions of an elected person. So we are hoping that elected officials and appointed officials in different levels will take their office serious and do the needful and see how they can contribute their own quota, not just to sit in an office and wait for another tenor to come without making an impact, without contributing to the issues on ground. And it's based on what the caller said, if you're not performing well, definitely people are seeing what is happening. They will vote you out in the next election. But no, as the electorate, the voters are becoming more aware about their power, and people are now seeing that they are trying to differentiate people from political parties. If you have people who elected into an office doing well, addressing the issues people are facing, they will vote them in no matter the political party they join. So it's about seeing how we can address the needs at our own levels of influence. At our own, we can't just rely on Buhari for everything. He has a critical role to play, but we also have a critical role to play. Say something, say something. It's all about what we are doing, how we are advancing the protection of human beings around our vicinity.
Okay. Thank you, Abiodun. To be a part of the conversation today, you can call us up on 07000 917 917, or you can send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070 317 565 37. Now, Abiodun, how can we begin to educate women in rural areas on the need to participate and vote in elections to ensure good governance?
Okay, thank you very much. It's majorly one of my pet projects here because I operate at the local level, and I believe politics is from the local level. So, it's for us to see the influence, to educate women, sensitize them, create more awareness on them on the need for women's inclusion in governance and leadership. Let them see the need for it. For me, I did a pet project, of 6-month pet project, by educating women at the grassroots level on our budget. So I collected the budget of the local government where we reside, and I took it to the women at the grassroots level to analyze and see in their own way. We use different means to educate them, for them to see the needs where they have to contribute to governance, and for them to see the relationship between what is happening at the local level and some of the things they do on a daily basis. So the services the local level provides for the public is in relation to some of the gender roles women are performing at the lower level. Women are in charge of schools, women are in charge of health, women do a lot of sanitation, they are there at the market. So they understand more of the problems at the local level than any man. So, and they are not in the leadership position at that level. So if you ask a woman, come and be this director of a primary health care, they understand, they know the number of hours they spend at the hospital, the primary health care center before they see a doctor. They know the challenge, they know when they go for labor and there's no generator, or you have to call a midwife with their phone number on top of the primary health care to call them to come and attend to you. They know some of these challenges, and they are not on the on top of the leadership position at the local level. So that's one of the ways in making them to realize that yes, you have a role to play, you have a contribution to make, because the governance at the local level, the services render is really affecting your day-to-day activities. Say for instance, you are taking a child to school. The schools are not well protected, there's no wash facility, it ends up affecting you. And the major primary caregiver in the family is a woman. Once somebody is sick, she leaves everything she's doing and attends to them. So they know and understand this, but they're not participating in what it should be. And now is the time for us to see advocate for women. So women leadership position or assistant women leadership position at the political party level is not the only position women should be vying for. I contested at the local level, and when we were about to set up the campaign structure at my level under my political party, I asked and I consulted. I wanted to be a secretary, not a woman leader. They asked me to be a woman. I said no, that's not the only position a woman is supposed to be. We have principal offices across different levels that a woman should be. So why not let me be a secretary? I'm educated, I can write minutes, I can coordinate things, and that was how I became the secretary of the campaign team in my ward.
Okay.
At the last election.
Thank you so much, Abiodun. Yes. Another question I'd like to ask you is, what steps should be adopted to strengthen women's rights and barriers affecting women in the political space? We've discussed lack of finance, looking at violence against women and children. But in this case now, women are affected by violence during elections. Many women are scared of going out to either participate or contest for elections. What can be done to strengthen the rights of women?
Okay, thank you very much. I think the issues women are facing in politics should be addressed in a holistic way.
Okay.
Instead that we address the systemic issues, the policy-related issues, and the cultural-related issues. So, because most of these things are the ones that really impact the inclusion of women and in politics, in the sense that a lot of people end up quoting what the society will have to say. How will my husband take it? What is the position of my religion towards women's inclusion? They say women are the weakest sex. Okay, they said women cannot be leaders, they can only be representative. A lot of people keep quoting with holy books concerning the involvement of women in leadership positions, and these are some of the things that affect or contribute to the percentage of women in leadership positions.
Okay. And
this also has to do with their rights. We have had a lot of policies that have been pushed at the National Assembly to protect the rights of the women. But, it has been thrown out of the Assembly. We pushed Gender and Equal Opportunity Bill. At the 8th Assembly, we couldn't go far because we were supposed to go for public hearing at the Senate, but we couldn't do that. So now at the 9th Assembly, we are back to push for this inclusion, because these policies address some of the issues women are facing concerning their rights. Now we have Violence Against Prohibition Act. This is another policy that has been put in place to promote women's rights. But it's not all the states in this country that have domesticated this act. Okay. It was passed 2015, but not all states of this country that have domesticated the act. So it's for us to push for our lawmakers to see how they can adopt this policy, and also advocate to our religious leaders and cultural leaders on the need for women's inclusion. Let us have gender he-for-she champions at the cultural level, at the traditional level, at our religious level, who will be pushing forward for inclusion. But before pushing forward for them, understanding the need for women's inclusion at that leadership position, we have needs that men cannot address. It's a disgrace for a man to be putting up his poster for the position of a woman leader in some northern states where women are there to struggle. You can't understand the needs of a woman.
More than a woman.
You can't ask a man how it feels to be pregnant. It's only a woman that can understand that. So they should know that. And they should not be using our culture or religion against us, because we have seen in the Holy Book how they promoted the women's development. When a man died and he had only female girls, Jesus Christ asked them to share the property to those children. So they should start recognizing the need for gender equality and promoting the development of a woman. So we have a lot to do, and it has to be holistic, because we need to target different intervention at the different quadrants of change that we are hoping to affect. Because if we don't target, if different groups are not addressing issues concerning religion, concerning policy, concerning the formal sector and informal sector of all these challenges, we will not have the results we hope to have.
Well said, Abiodun. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Yes, do have a great day, Abiodun.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and that was Abiodun Omomi Eshet. She is the special advisor to the chairman, Abuja Municipal Area Council on Information and Communications Technology. Investing in women's rights to political participation is a necessary step to achieving global gender equality and democratic governance. Studies have shown that increased women's participation in politics leads to greater investment in education and healthcare sector. Dr. Abiola Akiode Afolabi, who spoke to us earlier, had highlighted so many benefits of having women on decision-making tables. It cuts across everybody. It's going to favor everybody. So let's do our best. We need to support women in the political space to ensure gender equality. We need to have adequate representation of women in governance. Let there be gender equality. Just like we said earlier, like in 2019, the general elections, only 62 women out of the 2,970 who contested for different political offices, only 62 were elected. This is low. We can do better come 2023. Thanks to the production team Tunde Olowake and Taiwo Adeleye. Towards an inclusive governance in Nigeria on Political Arena continues next Tuesday at 2 p.m. on Women Radio 91.7. Towards an inclusive governance in Nigeria is an initiative of Nigerian Women Trust Fund and supported by Open Society Initiative of West Africa, Osiwa. I am Esther Laribe. Next on Women Radio 91.7 is the news at 3. Good afternoon.
This is WFM 91.7.